Do you defend yourself against wrong thoughts? How many people get married and the husband comes home with a little lipstick on his collar or the smell of perfume on his shirt, and immediately the enemy begins to accuse the husband in the wife's mind. And he notices throughout the evening and the morning following the attitude of the wife. She seems stubborn or upset. She's banging things, clanking things, not loving, not kind, for apparently no reason in the husband's mind. He has no idea what's been going on in his wife's mind, and she's entertaining it. Now, she may be entertaining it because she says, my husband's a good-looking man. Of course he's being tempted. She assumes that. Or my husband works in an office with a very pretty secretary. She assumes that. Or she may say, well, I know how people are trying to lure me when I go to the grocery store. Surely someone's trying to lure my husband. She assumes that. She may say, well, I know what I would have done. Maybe she's not as morally strong as her husband. And when people are not morally strong, they will assume that you're not either. They project themselves. Finally, the husband confronts her. What's going on with you? What's wrong with you? And she may say something like, I know what you're doing. What? What are you talking about? Are you crazy? Have you started drinking again? I found lipstick. What is this? Oh, honey, that isn't lipstick. That's a part of the paint or part of the construction site markings that we put on the road that we spray to mark different parts for the other people to come to do certain things or certain other things. Or, well, I met my old aunt and she hugged me. Your aunt, she flew into town, came past the office. In fact, she's going to stay here for the weekend. I was going to talk to you about it at breakfast, but you seemed so upset, I figured I'd wait till you calmed down to make sure it was okay for her to come and stay with us, or she has to get a hotel room. Oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't know. Of course you didn't know, but you didn't give him the benefit of the doubt. It's interesting how people will assume very easily something evil about you in their own minds. And that doesn't even take into account the people that will start whispering in your ear. After all, her neighbor comes over when you're at work to have a little mid-morning coffee or tea, sitting at the table, and starts gossiping about what her husband's doing. And then assumes, well, you got to be careful about our husbands, they can't be trusted. Oh, no, my husband's never, well, that's what I used to think, my husband too, but no, I wouldn't trust him if I was you. And so you get other people, and they start planting bad seeds in your head about someone that's your friend or someone that you just met or someone that you're in love with or your own husband. You get it? And what happens? Yeah, you're right. Then you start agreeing. It's so easy how people come into agreement about something slanderous. They don't dig deep to investigate where the thought comes from. Did it come from within your own mind because of your own insecurities? Did it come from someone else outside of your mind? Ultimately, it came from the adversary and the accuser of the brethren. If they did it to Jesus, Yeshua, of course they're going to do it to you. If they could think so wrong about Yeshua, I've grown accustomed to not getting too upset when people think wrong about me. I don't make too much of it anymore. I've learned better. You cannot control what is said about you when you're not around. You cannot control what people say about you to themselves in their mind. Let it go. You have no control over that. In this world you will have tribulation, but be of good cheer, for I have overcome the world. You will experience in this world being betrayed, misunderstood, misinterpreted, mocked, maligned, falsely accused. That's okay, because there's nothing you can do about that. You have to learn to accept it. There will be people that will honor you and some that will not. People who will see you for who you are and some that will not. Get over it. Accept it. Don't try to manipulate it. Don't try to change it. Those people too have to grow to learn how to think better and learn how to defend themselves against the bitter things of life. That's their trajectory. But don't try to change that. So what if they think bad about you? If it's true, then repent. If it's not, don't worry about it. And it may cost you. They may run you out of town. They may say something under their breath to somebody else and you don't get that loan at the bank. You don't get that promotion at work. The person that you like, that seemed like they liked you at first, may all of a sudden stop calling, stop visiting, block your number, and you'll never know why. Because you won't know what happened, because you were not around to see what only God can see. You were maligned, you were mocked, you were falsely accused. You were set up. And that's what the adversary. But you can't worry about the things you cannot see, the things you cannot change, nor the things you cannot understand. Just do what's right. In the end, it all will be made right, either in this life or the life to come. Till then, we bear the cross of that. But there are moments, like last night, when my doctor invited me to celebrate her birthday. Her birthday was yesterday. And what an honor that my doctor would invite me to celebrate her birthday with her and her husband. When she found out that my birthday was a few days after hers, her first thought was, let's celebrate our birthday together. And immediately, 2 weeks ago, she booked a restaurant. And what I love what she said next, she says, and I'll pay. She was paying for the honor to have me celebrate her birthday with her, to celebrate my birthday, because she appreciates me. I think she appreciates me particularly for my love of Israel, because she's Jewish as well. And she loves that I love Israel. Let's celebrate. You can honor me, and I can honor you. And I got there, and she was already there. She got there early. She was going to get off work late, but she got off early. And I was happy about that. And it was a situation I had to bring something. I don't like to not do anything. And the Lord gave me wisdom to know what to do. What could I bring? I have limited funds, but Papa made a way for me to bring. And sometimes you can bring something of value that you have. And it may be the only thing you have of value. So I bought the only thing I had of value. And it was exactly the perfect gift that she appreciated and loved and wanted. And then in addition, I was able to attach 2 other accompanying gifts with that gift that I owned, that I valued. And again, it was a perfect accompaniment. And it was joy, love, and expression. But to get to that place, I had to go through hell. I had to go through a market area that was littered and littered with all kinds of menagerie of godlessness and occultism. There was every kind of godlessness that you can imagine, the crowd that I had to go through to get to the place that was reserved for a holy fellowship and celebration. And I had to put on such an armor of protection to walk through the mass of the mess of the godless people, haters of God, haters of Israel, lovers of sodomites. It was like trudging through a sewer or a jungle. It was like a crow's nest. Unbelievable. And I kept my composure to make sure I was not distracted or deterred. When I got there, I was able to see the place where I would eat and my friend. And when I saw my doctor, my friend, the mess that I had to go through was forgotten. But then at the end, after the fellowship, I had to walk back through that same sewer. You know, everybody can climb a mountain, but you don't stay on top of it. You got to come back down. And sometimes it can be more treacherous coming down than going up. And so I began to descend down that mountain of mess and mass of godlessness. And now it was worse because, you know, the rats and the roaches love to come out at night. So the later it got, the worse it got. And I walked through that mess and that mass of godlessness. And I had to remind myself who I was. Father, please don't have me speak to anyone. Let me get through this. I wanted to stand and yell and scream and preach. Just angry at their godlessness, their cultism. But Father had his way, as he always does. And it began. Walking what seemingly would appear to be alone. Everyone else was either with someone or in a crowd of someone's. And there I was, in this menagerie, this mess of people, this mass. And the first thing Father had me do, when I saw Muslims sitting at a table in an open area market, and children and people walking up to these Muslim women who have books of Qurans, and they're smiling to give out Qurans to these non-Muslim people, selling a lie and telling them. I walked up to the table, I took a picture, and then I walked. They said, "Oh, let me give you a Quran." I said, "It's okay. I've read it. And your hadith. I'm well aware of who you are and what these books are." And they had pamphlets about the Quran, and even pamphlets to lure the Christians about Jesus. And they spelled it incorrectly, Jesus, the way the Christians spell it incorrectly, to appeal to the people who don't know who he is at all. And I didn't want to get into a theological debate with them, but they kept pressing, and I said, "Well, why aren't you Muslim if you read?" I said, "Why would I be? If there's any proof not to be a Muslim, is read that book." Oh, they didn't like that. And I went on, and I began, although I had no intention to systematically address their history and the very prophet that they claim that they believe in. And the Spirit of God came upon me, and the mass of the hundreds and hundreds of people, a few thousand, that were all around. And there was a quiet silence. And they shrunk back, and they began to ease back. They stood up, and then they sat down. And they recoiled like a snake from me. And then I continued to walk. I hadn't got to my vehicle yet. But then there was a group of young men, 5 or 6, dealing with all of the cars and the valet. Young men. And the Lord had took these men that were all scattered. All of a sudden, they were herded together in one spot. And I walked up and addressed all of them. And they stood at attention. First, they began to giggle and laugh. And then they got very quiet when they saw I was not a joke and I was serious. And they heard what God wanted them to hear. No one had ever spoken to them that way. They said, "And Father, not me, arrange that situation." And it was eye-opening because I was so disturbed by the mass and the mess of who these people were and are and what they represent. I had bread to give them, but I did not want to give that. I had water to quench their thirst, but did not want to give them the water. I did not want them to mock it. I did not want to experience them rejecting it because I valued it. But isn't that the risk we take? We help someone and they take the very help we give them and they use it for evil, whether it's our words, our water, our money, or our time. They misinterpret our love for hate, our knowledge for indoctrination, our time for waste. Then there's that one person, the one who's isolated, the one who's trying to hide, the one who thinks God has forgotten them. People that don't think anyone sees them, and you walk up to them. And they're amazed that you're talking to them and that you see them and that you're taking time with them. They're amazed that you care about them and you're interested in helping them. Or that you give anything to them without them even asking. They're amazed. How is this possible? You have to sometimes put yourself in a place to receive God's blessing and to be a blessing to someone else. Even though the place is a sewer, or it's difficult, or it's not comfortable, or it's not familiar. Miners go into caves and deep in the earth or a mountain to locate the copper, to locate the diamonds or the gold. You have to put yourself sometimes in a dark place to find something shiny, worthy to be salvaged and saved, and you may have to risk your life to do it. Don't isolate yourselves. Don't let the devil speak to your mind and then isolate yourselves from your spouse or your children or your friends. Don't start meditating on the worst possible scenario and then playing it out in your mind and then manifesting it in your life. Pick up the phone, call, clarify, verify these thoughts and these things that have you going astray. Seek truth. That's what you do when you seek the truth. You have interviews. Lawyers do it all the time. They just don't sit in a room and concoct how they're going to indict somebody. They have to get the information, the proof, the evidence, the witnesses. Else it would be injustice. Rather, it's in a defense or in a prosecution. It's so easy to circumstantially appear to be innocent when you're guilty, or guilty when you're innocent. But to the man that prods and pokes and pries, the one that asks and seeks and knocks, is the one that finds. Live in truth. Even if it means you've got to go into a dark place to find the gold, to find the light that's waiting to come out of that dark place and be helped, be seen, be loved. Step into the light and help others to step into that light. And God will do the rest. Because the souls of men is what he values. He takes no pleasure in the death of the wicked and the loss of a soul. So it is for the Father's love of the souls of men that we do what we do.